38-28 headed into overtime. So the G-Man have forced overtime against Giles. So that's a good game going on. Final in George Wythe, close to final. Marion leading 38-27 over the Maroons. So that's a big game for the Scarlet Hurricane. Lebanon falls 14-0. Grundy gets the win over the Pioneers. Don't see anything as far as from Wise Central tonight. Of course, they were playing well, I don't have them because they're not in the Southwest District, so we're going to go out of the district this week. But the other games, Lebanon, of course, not getting much from their side of things. The last update from Lebanon that I had was 0-0 the score, but let me check that again. Game over again, 14-0 there. So those are your final scores around the Southwest District. Here it's 34-20 final. It's a tough loss for the Bearcats. They'll drop to 2-1 on the season, but they're still undefeated at 1-0 in the Southwest District, and they'll move out of the district next week again and face Wise Central. So that'll be a fun game. We're still compiling some stats, but really a rough overview of the game, Mark. Quarterback play, Lathrop looked good on the run, but made some poor decisions passing, but you can't really fault him down here trying to make a play in the end zone at the end of the game. But the first interception early in the fourth quarter really done them in right there on the short field.
Yeah, and we talked about Cortland Carter probably trying to force himself to make a play there, but Jamie Lathrop just was out of character tonight in that regard. Really ill-advised throw, and he got lucky about the I don't really know what to call what happened down here with the incomplete forward progress.
Fumbles, interception. Yeah, it was just it had everything going, but luckily it just ended up being a downed 1 yard gain for him.
Sure, and I guess that's how that goes, right?
Yeah, so that was the one thing that went in favor of Virginia High right there at the end. They did have a chance, and they still had a chance even. Until the interception down here, they drove it all the way down to the 30, and that's one thing the Bearcats were able to do tonight. When they started drives off, when they got the first down, they were able to drive on Tennessee High, it seemed like. But if they couldn't get that first down, they couldn't get rolling. And when they got late in downs, they made this crucial decision, and they would go to Aaron Rose, who had a heck of a ball game. And I have a feeling when we look at the stats, we're going to be very impressed with what we see from Mr. Rose.
And Aaron Rose is my call for player of the game. I hate to go ahead and give away surprises and stuff like that, but Aaron Rose, he just brought a different energy to that offense. Even on the defensive side of the ball, both sides of the ball, he was just so electric tonight. That's something that you have to give him credit for, and the team for just rallying around their player like that.
And then from the Tennessee High, they had a great game plan. They used both quarterbacks almost selectively. They went with Overbay late in the first half, and they even brought him in later in the fourth quarter. We didn't see him in the third. So I thought that was rare because he led them on a 70-some yard drive there when he did come in, and he was just throwing the ball all over the place. And that's really the thing right now. The secondary wasn't able to do a whole lot against Tennessee High, but that was a mismatch coming in. The size of this Tennessee High wide receiver core. And here are some stats from the Virginia High side of things. 6 penalties for 65 yards, so that's never a great thing. They had 19 first downs. Lathrop 11 for 22 passing, 126 yards, 2 interceptions. He ran it 15 times for 106 yards. He's the leading rusher for Virginia High on the afternoon. Then it goes to Aaron Rose, 14 rushes, 98 yards, and a touchdown. And a lot of those yards after contact, Rose able to power through the line of scrimmage. It goes after that to 16, and that is Michael Howard, of course, 7 rushes, 19 yards. Not really a good game for him, but he couldn't find any holes.
Yeah, and that's what happens in a power back setting with Michael Howard. Whenever the defensive line is just being able to blow up your offensive line like that, it's hard for him to be able to make plays. When you're a power back, you need that offensive line push just to be able to get you that initial start. Your acceleration is not going to be near as fast, but that's just how it's going to be there on the run. You got to get that initial push to get some action going.
Austin Atkins finishes the night with 8 rushes for 29 yards. So those are your stats from Virginia High. All in all, a very tough afternoon. I believe Travis is dialing up some stats for Tennessee High, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure what he's still writing down. He's at work hard over there.
I'll tell you what. Yeah,
he's heading out to Blacksburg tomorrow to watch a big game against Delaware State. We're all going to go see some really good football tomorrow, I'm telling you. But of course, are you not going to any games this week?
No, actually, I'm a season ticket holder for the University of Tennessee. Neyland
I
Stadium.
wouldn't go either. So
But no, I have to work Super Chevy for the racetrack tomorrow. So come on out to the Super Chevy. We have a good time tomorrow. I'll make sure that you get yourself a good seat. No smoking in the grandstands. Coolers no bigger than 14 by 14 by 14. Bring them on out.
15 by 15 by 15.
Yeah, it's negative. Can't do
but
it.
It's a Saturday. You got to have a little bit of fun. Give us some leeway. But again, 34-20 the score is Tennessee High is enjoying it. They're still down on the field celebrating this win. It's Coach Chris' crew are still out on the field as well here and there. Another just a tough loss in this series, but as I said at the end, these games keep getting closer and closer between these teams. Last year it was 24-7. This year 34-20. So starting to narrow the gap. Wonder what it'll be next year.
Hopefully a favorable outcome for us next year.
So I think things are looking good for the next game, and I think Virginia High looked good at times in this one. The second half was spotty, but again, Wise Central coming up next week, and then we'll have a bye week. Chilhowie after that, at Abingdon, at Graham, Lebanon, Marion, and then we go to Richland. So that's the remaining schedule for Virginia High. For Tennessee High, they'll host Morristown and Elizabethton for the next 2 weeks, and Elizabethton will be a tough cookie for them.
That's a
in
tough
2
cookie
weeks.
for anybody who plays them. Anybody who's got a Witten as their head coach is probably
Cyclones,
pretty good.
Yeah, so Elizabethton will roll
I believe
into Tennessee High.
That may be Elizabethton's homecoming as well.
It's at Tennessee High, so couldn't be, but unless they have a road homecoming. Now that would be cool. But,
That would be embarrassing is what that would be.
Travis still over here. I believe he's writing us a book about how much he enjoyed the game tonight with us. Of course, Travis, my old broadcast partner, he's been following me around everywhere I go. It seems like he helps out. Of course, he did the PA at Bristol for a year. Got too busy this year for it. That's why we had such a bad year, I think.
Yeah, I think the Travis charm. Well, now my perfect record has gone down the drain to 2 out of 3 now. So I mean, still 6.67 win percentage there. That's a Bill Belichick style record, so that works for me.
So looking at Tennessee High now, they had 7 penalties for 75 yards. Virginia had 6 for 65, so a lot of penalties in this ball game. Let's look at some of the stats, starting with the running backs. Cade Mitchell had 7 rushes for 59 yards. Late in the game, we saw Kelvin Coleman, the sophomore. He ran 1 carry for 2 yards. C.J. Hess, 2 carries for 8 yards. Cortland Carter, 17 rushes, 105 yards. Getting on down the list, Cole McBrayer, he had 2 rushes for 8. And finishing it up, Hunter Holt, the junior, 4 rushes for 17 yards. So that is your rushing statistics for the Tennessee High Vikings. And all in all, it was Cortland Carter that was power in the running game. And when you got to the quarterback side of things, Tan Overbay was able to have a good game offensively. And that 2-quarterback system, you sometimes think about it backfiring, but tonight it worked out really well for the Vikings.
And, you know, if you look at it, Tan Overbay and Jamie Lather will be here next year for another good battle here. We'll head over to the Castle next year, but another good battle on the quarterback side next year. Even if, heck, who knows, Tennessee High might try to find another quarterback to run that 2-quarterback set as well, but you're going to have a good battle either way on that side.
Yeah, the quarterbacks are only going to get better through the next 7 or 8 weeks of football. Of course, Virginia High trying to make it to the playoffs. So is Tennessee High. They're going to have to finish strong. The Vikings are. They've got a few games left to do so, but a tough slate ahead as they move to 500 on the year. Virginia High drops to 2-1. Again, Wise Central coming up next week. They're still doing a little bit of math over here. They're worrying me. I don't want them to have some awesome tidbit information and us go off the air, so we'll hang around here. There. It's almost like having a computer up here with these two guys. Okay, so we got some passing stats.
I'm not really sure what that says.
So we got team total passing. 12 for 16 for Tennessee High for 159 yards and 2 touchdowns, so that's impressive. Separately, we had Carter go 5 for 7 for 65 yards and a touchdown, so we're talking about a guy who was running most of the night, but when he passed, he made the most of it, and then they bring in the other guy, Tan Overbay, 7 for 9 passing for 94 yards and a touchdown. So really, they brought in Overbay, it seemed like, after Carter was wore down either defensively or on that kick return. He had a kick return for 48 yards. And he's listed as a kicker. He's the backup kicker on this team, and he punts the ball. They go in that shotgun set and back him up about 8 yards behind the center. And they're able to do a lot of things in this offense.
I'll tell you what, if Cortland Carter ever goes down, this team might be in a world of hurt.
I agree, but you've got two to work with, that's for sure. So they've got two really good quarterbacks, and, I mean, if you were another team around, you would say you would take either one, I'm sure. But
Tanner Overbay's got a great game or a great season and a great couple of years ahead of him.
But a tough loss tonight, 34-20. Tennessee High wins the 101st edition of the VT game. We'll be back next week for Wise Central. Make sure you tune in at 6:30 p.m. We'll go live then. Kickoff's at 7 against Wise Central. So tune in. That's at Spreaker.com/Bearcat Radio. We hope you tune in then. But so far for the weekend, and I hope you come out Wednesday night to Buffalo Wild Wings at Exit 5.
Come out and enjoy you some wings. I don't know who we're going to have on the broadcast yet. So
we're going to have two people from football and a couple from another sport. It's a surprise. We'll have it all out for you on Sunday or Monday evening. So make sure you stay tuned. Again, on Twitter, you can follow us at VHS Bearcat Radio. Facebook, just search Bearcat Radio, and we'll get you those guests for Bearcat Talk. We had about 50 people out for the show and had close to 110 live listeners from Buffalo Wild Wings. So it was a fun time. Come down and get some wings. I think they've got some specials for them. And so half the money, I think, goes back to Virginia High. They've got a special fundraiser deal with them. So
it's pretty awesome.
We had a lot of fun. We've got some giveaways planned for next week. So we hope you can make it out to Bearcat Sports Chat. If not, make sure you tune in, as we'll go live with that at 6:30 on Wednesday night. And then, of course, we give out the pregame show on Friday against Wise Central. That starts at 6:30 as well. But for tonight, 34-20, Tennessee High gets the win and gives Virginia High their first loss of the season. Thank you for tuning in, and good night from Gene Malcolm Stadium.
And go Cats.
You're listening to Virginia High Bearcat football on Spreaker Radio.
Hey y'all, I'm Blake Shelton. I love that country music connects people all over this great nation, but unfortunately so does something else: childhood hunger. 15 million children struggle with hunger in America. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks works to rescue our surplus